everything. I brought a variety, high pools.
Yeah, a lot more tools this year.
I tell you what, it changed our life.
The girls love the tea idea from last year.
Good.
So
That's awesome.
we might have to swing back by and get some more.
Absolutely, we're here. And I've got, what I have out is, some stuff, but I'm
Well stocked.
stocked up, so.
So why would you grow sheep? I think sheep are the most underrated livestock animal. The most underrated. Well, first, why are they underrated? Well, I think it's because we just don't culturally eat them. Like I said, only half a pound a year per family. But by the show of hands of who's eating lamb, you guys are like, yeah, that's normal. Well, it's Friday at 2:45 p.m. If you're at a Homestead conference at Friday at 2:45 p.m., everybody else is on the highway going to work, you might be a crazy you might be a crazy homesteader. So the rules don't really apply to you. You guys, have you noticed when you broke out of the norm to grow some of your own food or to switch to organic or whatever it was, you broke one norm. You started homeschooling or something. It was easier to break another. So let's forget what everybody else is doing. I'm preaching to the choir here now based on the hands of eating a lamb. It's okay to eat lamb. It's okay to eat turkey in January. And it's okay to not like kale. Or it's okay to not like eggs. Okay? Let's give ourselves permission. If you're a meat and potatoes guy, grow meat and potatoes. That's okay. Sheep are so complementary to everything else on the homestead. Did you guys know I use sheep to follow my cows? I have the cows go first, and they go and graze. And then I move my cows every day, and after the cows move, I move the sheep in. And the cows have eaten what I call the ice cream grass. They have the first choice. The cows are the centerpiece of our farm, so they get the priority. They come in, they're eating all this lovely ice cream grass. It's giving us the cream, and they might have left this. We get a weedy thing here, and the sheep hit that. So sheep eat what cows won't eat.
So even though I didn't have the Instagram cows to measure her up against and see all the ways that she was failing, because back then nobody was showing their, frolicking in the meadows with their jerseys. Nobody was showing that on Instagram. But I measured her up against the cows of my childhood, who were those jerseys that, I would take all night as a 10-year-old. I'm sure it was a whole hour that I took, because I sat there beside the cow and I would see how many flies I could drown. I would squirt up milk, and if the cats were there, I was squirting. I could have just goofed off all night in this jersey. She just stood there chewing her cud the entire time. So that's how I knew that Smokey was not that kind of cow. So the cows that I have now, they are not only my happiness cows, they are my joy cows. Not because they're so much better behaved. I mean, they are, but not only that, but because I view them differently. Instead of it being, this is the cow that we're going to train and she's going to give us the best milk and we're going to turn her into a good milk cow, these cows are a gift from God. And I'm not expecting more than what they are. My worship and my thankfulness is that God has provided us with these cows, and as long as He continues to provide us with this opportunity, we will continue to milk them and give Him the glory. They are my joy cows. And my happiness doesn't depend on if they're pregnant or if they're giving us, 4 gallons or 2 gallons or how big the cream line is. It is a gift from God, regardless what happens. And if we can't, get one of them pregnant, then maybe God's closing the door on that milk cow. Maybe it's time to ship her off or eat her. My happiness doesn't depend on what happens with the cows. So sourdough bread, here's another one. The perfect loaf of sourdough bread. Does it make you smile when it comes out of the oven? It's a victory, isn't it? But when we start focusing on, the wild yeast in the air just somehow got into that flour and water, and now I can make this beautiful puffy loaf of bread, that's a gift from God. When we start seeing it that way, even the flat sourdough loaf is a gift.
Hey. Yeah, she's pretty good.
What is that? Oh yeah. I mean, I can make it with PVC pipe, but probably, yeah. Lots of set. $8.
We're just going to spend the next hour just talking about farm startups, getting things laid out. What's first? First comes, what's first? And the first, the idea of Stephen Covey talking about start with the end in mind. And first things first, we're going to follow some of that and the idea of getting your homestead set up in a way that is effective, efficient, and productive. And we're going to go in that way. I think the important thing, how many of you have bought property in the last 12 to 18 months? Show of hands, 12 to 18 months. Okay, go ahead. And if it's less than 20 acres, keep your hands up, less than 20 acres. Okay, great, here's the key. That's really exciting. Congratulations, by the way. Give yourselves a hand, that's awesome. I know it's a dream, it's probably, for a lot of you, it might have been your life savings. And so again, congratulations, and it's a scary, wonderful ride. Now, one of the things that we like to do, though, is to set you up for success. One of the big trends that was happening before the homesteading that really kicked off, and you got a lot more support and things like that, but anybody who bought something under 20 acres typically lasted, the realtor rule of thumb was that property was going to be back on the market in about 12 to 24 months. Okay, because you said, oh, I want a homestead, I want chickens, I want a cow, I want goats, whatever. You get it. And then in about 12 months, you're like, man, this is really hard. I can't go on vacation anymore. Getting a dog sitter is easy. Getting someone to watch the chickens and milk the goat and let the chickens out every morning is a big deal. And this is no longer as fun as we thought it was going to be. Or we've run out of money and we put it back up on the market. One of the things I want to talk about today is I don't want the realtors to get any more of your money. Okay? They love to see those homesteaders come like, oh boy, here we go. We're going to flip this thing multiple times. And I've seen it. In our community I've seen the same little 10 to 5 acre homestead be sold multiple times. And it's just, for sale sign out. 4 or 5 years later, for sale sign out. And it's just been sold over and over and over again. I don't say that to discourage you. I say that because that's what we're going to talk about today. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be in it to win it. I want you to stay the course. I want you to be in. I don't want, if there's realtors in here, sorry, you're going to find somewhere else to get your commission, right? You're going to go somewhere else because you're not going to buy or sell these properties over and over again, all right? I want you to win. And so when you're going on your homestead, it's important to look at how you are able to change things and in what level of importance, because you need to do the first things first, right? Because you're starting with the end in mind, but you're doing first things first. So how do we do that? The first thing you have to do is to be able to access that property, okay? So the first thing that you can begin having impact on your property is access, right? I know the first thing you want to do is buy that cute little Scottish Highlander cow that you've been dying on. I know. Stay patient. There's a lot of things before we get to that. Sorry. I'm sorry. But I'm trying to help you. You're going to win it. You're going to get in there. You're going to stay. So number one is that access.
I'm good. 100%. I know. Yes. What happened a while ago, but the plaque came yesterday when I was not home. The kids opened it. I remember you were so excited. Right? Thank you for being excited. Oh, we're not quite well, we all started somewhere. Yeah, one barber secret. Okay. We have a channel called Skin Out with my husband. I saw you on the set. I'll take a picture with you. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's all full. All right. These yellow wings full. It'll be at 32. Who can I make it out to? Already at 108. Try to go here. Hardy. Watch my number. See, it's 8.7. Hardy,
H-A-R-D-Y.
But I ain't doing that. So when I go to collect, it's going to be 32. So we'll already be ahead. So we don't need that. So what we need to do
Yeah, she talks about you all the time. And
is to find.
yeah. Well, I don't know if it's just automated or what, but everything new you've been posting up has been popping up on my stuff, so I've been watching for quite a while.
Oh, really?
Do you want to say something to Faith?
Say something to Faith?
Faith, sure.
Oh, yes. Faith, I hope you love this book, and I hope it sparks so much joy in your life and you grow the most abundant, beautiful gardens.
Aw, well, thanks.
Yes.
She said we got them in the farm. Gypsum weed, baby.
What's it do?
What's a gypsum weed?
That's what I was going to say.
Thorn apple? I know this is what you're saying. We've got the mullein, and I'm trying to teach the little one to learn our property and the farm with boundaries.
Don't smoke this one.
And I told him, I said, what can we use that for? Here, come here. Tell Mr. Darrell what we can use that for. Tell me.
Tell me, shine out.
Tell me, when we find this on the farm, and we want to know what else we can use it for.
Mommy's gonna ask a
You
question
tell me.
next, so.
You tell me. What can we use that for? Like a Band-Aid? What? What else? That's like squeeze it and get water. Yeah. Oh, a Band-Aid. And then laying down in your bedding, huh? Inside your shelter. Is one another way? Oh man, what?
The camera turned on me.
You gotta be ready.
Did you drink it?
Nice. Oh, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Oh, gosh.
Oh yeah. So what are your? Do you have different size bottles or just the one?
Just one size.
That'll like leave your mouth watering.
Not for me.
No, like for more. It's not a hot sauce.
No.
I want to fire cider.
It'll give you a little zip.
Hang in there.
Eric, you need to try it. No, serious. If you don't finish it, I'll have to get it. But try it. You'll see what I mean.
Here's a little.
But you get a little. Did you try it? Oh, and I didn't catch it.
There's a trash can on that pole or the
Oh,
line.
that stinks.
Eric's gonna die. It's like vinegary.
Yes,
That's easy.
it does have a little vinegary.
Use it as a sun.
Hold on.
But what we're about is feeding, as I said, feeding from the farm, so we have all kinds of workarounds. We have crops that we grow for our animals so that you are not going to the feed store and you're not going to the grocery store. We raise about 90 to 95% of what we eat and what our animals eat. When the electricity goes out, when the petroleum goes down, we know what we're going to do.
And even when it doesn't, isn't it just more fun this way? I mean, we're all here maybe because we have worries, but way more. God doesn't frighten us into doing the right thing. He rewards us. He makes it attractive. We just want to do this because it feels so good.
And we really believe that this is God's pattern. That when God created the world and put man on it, he said, you are to farm. And we believe that that's what we're called to do, that we are called to grow our own food. And what has happened is we have outsourced all of that. We want other people to grow our food. We want other people to process our food. We want other people to do that. And we think it's our responsibility to do it ourselves. So that's what we are primarily about. So,
Before we go into water collection systems, I want to tell you a little bit about the best way to keep water on your farm, which is to keep your soil covered with grass and graze it intensively. Because your biggest reservoir on your farm, including the reservoir that's going to run any springs and seeps you're collecting, your biggest reservoir is your soil. And your soil is going to grow in its water holding capacity every year that you managed your grass in intensive rotation with ruminants. This is HOA. Probably everybody here has some idea of what I'm talking about. Like hands up if you get what I mean by intensive rotational grazing. Okay, there were enough hands that didn't come up that I'm just going to say we're talking about small paddock, short duration, long rest and recovery grazing. You can learn more about that from us, from our books, from Joel Salatin and his books. He's the granddaddy of all. But what we're talking about is imitating natural patterns so that grazing animals hit an area hard and then come back only after that grass is recovered. The process of growing grass means you're growing roots, and when grass is grazed or mowed, The leaf mass that is left on top can't support all that root anymore, and you get root dieback, which sounds like a negative thing until you realize you're pumping carbon into your soil, which will then feed microbes, insects, worms, etc., fungi, so that they will build more organic matter in your soil. And where the roots were, we have channels down into the soil that let the soil become more absorptive of water. So your number one water security system is called ruminants on grass in a good intensive rotational grazing system. And I want to encourage everybody here to think of, grass is a harvest that you can collect 4, 5, 6 harvests a year. And we're not talking about a planted pasture, we're talking about whatever the heck is growing out there that isn't a tree or a bush, is prepared to provide you with ruminant food of the highest quality. I can't tell you how many times we've walked on a farm for a consultation. People say, well, I don't really have a pasture yet. When we go out and look at what's growing, we think like, well, what did you want? And they're thinking, we all have this mental image of like a tall golf course. It's got to be green and pretty uniform. No, you want a really biodiverse, native and naturalized plant pasture, 100, 200 species of plant out there, not only to feed your animals calories, you're also feeding your animals all their minerals. All of their health supplements are coming out of those plants. And the more biodiverse pastures you have, and the more you pulse graze them, multiple harvests every year of grazed animals, the more water your soil is going to hold. That's your number one water holding reservoir.
So if you
All right, thanks for saying hi.
Do you guys have a list of more of your herbal, herbs and stuff, the medicinal side, collective?
We do have it. We do have a couple different medicinal herb packs on the website. We don't separate them out here. They're just, I can point them out to you if you want to get them here. But we do have them like organized in a pack on the website.
Get them on the site and get some.
Cash or card?
Oh, that looks delicious. I need to knife that sharp.
Yeah, it takes a pretty sharp knife. This one's almost not sharp enough right now.
I have a difficult time getting a slice like that.
Baby.
Yes, we have to take that class.
Real. So don't feel like you need to whip out your phone and dial 911 or call emergency services. Because again, this is just going to be a drill. I think there are so many systems in this country that have been developed that unfortunately allows a big percentage of the population to kind of just like take this sedated backseat ride for life. It's like I no longer have to worry about anything. Everything is being. So, can you think of some other systems that we rely on in this country besides the emergency medical system? Food, water. Water's a big one. When you turn the faucet on at your house, where does that water come from? I mean, if you live in town, you're probably coming from some sort of a municipality. If you live on Homestead, or if you live way out in the country, it's probably coming from a well, or maybe a spring. So there's just a difference, and this is what I love about the homesteading crew and the homesteading mindset, is because you guys already have this like pioneer mindset of how do I do this on my own, or how do I be prepared on my own. Where, and here again, there's nothing wrong if you live in town, that's great, but a lot of times we take this view of I live in town, I turn on my faucet, and there's something wrong with my water. What do? Make a phone call. Just like you did if somebody has a heart attack. What do? I make a phone call. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a cardiac specialist. I don't know how to save this guy. So I make a phone call. What happens if the electricity quits working? Make a phone call. What happens to the trash that you set out on the curb in that black plastic bag or in that box? Like, you don't have to worry about where that goes. You're not the person that has to take care of it. There's a system, there's an infrastructure in place to handle that. What about when you flush your toilet? Maybe if you're on the homestead, you might worry about it. If you got a composting toilet, or if you have your own septic tank, your own leach field, your own lagoons, now you've got to manage those things. But if you're in town,
Oh my gosh, isn't he cute?
You can stay here.
How big do these get?
Oh, okay.
They get big.
They do.
We raise them and sell them as breeding pairs, or we raise them and just
More pasture pigs or just?
more pasture pigs. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir. Yeah.
Do they, how they do on pasture? They rooted up or are they?
No, a little bit. You know, they're going to eat all the vegetation, of course.
Okay.
And we got one spot that they'll, in the summertime when it gets hot, you know, they'll try to dig down to stay cool, you know, to get mud on.
Yeah.
We'll keep that full of water. And that, our pastures stay pretty decent.